Reddit ask me anything. I shot and killed someone in self-defense. Ask me anything. At the time, I was in a long distance, about 4 hours away relationship and I was traveling to see her. I stopped at a gas station near her house at about 10 PM to get drinks and snacks for us to watch movies all night. I parked at one of the pumps even though I want filling up. This really large homeless man approached me from the side of the building and told me he just needed $20 so he could get a hotel for the night. He said his wife had cheated on him and kicked him out and he didn't want to spend the night on the street. I told him no because I needed to save my money since I was so far from home. He was muttering to himself about how I was lying. I just didn't want to help a black man, etc. When I walked into the store he screamed something at me. In the store I just got 2 drinks and some chips even though I was planning to get more. I just wanted to be really quick. When I came back out I didn't see him so I thought he wandered off. I quickly hurried to my car and I felt like someone was behind me. I turned around and he swung a machete at me. I managed to move away somehow and drop the bag I was carrying. I was pulling up my shirt to get my gun. IWB carry, and he was walking towards me with a horrible look on his face. I'll never forget that look. I got my gun out and screamed something at him that was a combination of get away and drop it. It just sounded like complete gibberish. He lunged at me with it and reared back to swing again and I shot him until the gun was empty. I called 911 but I couldn't make out anything the operator was saying. I just told them that I shot someone who was coming at me and the name of the gas station I was at. Within a minute every cop in the city was at the gas station. I was detained and interviewed at the scene and they took my gun into evidence. They released me and asked me to come into the station the next morning literally in like 8 hours for an interview. I went and they told me they'd call me if there were any updates. They decided not to press charges. Ask me anything. How often does the event play on your mind, as it's a pretty heavy thing to deal with? For the first week I was constantly replaying the incident because of how close I was to death. As of now I just face constant depression and self-deprecation because I feel like a piece of shit for not feeling guilty. I know I should constantly think about him and about how I took his life. I took away his future and all he's ever done. Someone had to tell his mom and dad that their son had died. But I don't feel guilty about that because I always tell myself but he tried to kill me. I feel like shit for not feeling like shit. How did your girlfriend deal with it when she first heard? She was very supportive. She's pro gun and knew I had one so that wasn't an issue. We ended up fighting about it later. She kept bringing it up and I kept asking her not to. We ended up fighting a lot after that and we broke up. So did they give your gun back? And if so, how long did it take to get it back? In 2 weeks when it was announced I won't face charges. Do you still own it? I keep it in my car. I don't think I'll ever sell it. Why don't you keep it on your side like before? I keep the 19 on my side now. What kind of gun do you carry and how long did it take for them officially say they weren't pressing charges? At the time I carried a Glock 43. I carry a 19C now. The DA announced they weren't pursuing charges in about 2 weeks. There was a mountain of evidence that it was a good shoot. Had you ever used it before aside for practice? Were there surveillance cameras at the gas station? I shot at the range somewhat regularly. There were cameras. Have you watched the footage? It may reinforce that it was 100% self-defense and you shouldn't feel guilty about not feeling guilty. The police showed it to me. It was 100% self-defense and I still feel like a shell. Did you go to therapy afterwards? I can only imagine just how bad that stuck with you. I never did. I don't want to be diagnosed with something and suddenly be a huge worry for everyone. Just because you're not diagnosed with something doesn't mean the diagnosis isn't there. I don't care. The last thing I need is someone telling me I have a problem and taking away my only means for defense. My family has never treated me the same. Everything worries them. If I'm 10 minutes late to a family meeting, they think I've run off and hurt myself. If they see me drink 1 beer they think I've turned to alcohol. I probably go through 1 6-pack of beer a month. No liquor. If I get diagnosed with something it'll be 100x worse. Not telling you how to live, just want to share. A good therapist will work on what you're feeling and how to put it to rest. Unless you really are a danger to yourself and others, it's not their priority to slap a diagnosis on you. It doesn't sound like you're in danger of them forcing you into an inpatient stay, and without that, I don't believe there's any risk of your CCW being revoked or future purchases being restricted. And just a little loophole to consider. A lot of therapists are not doctors and can't give you a medical diagnosis, therefore cannot get you into the kind of legal snare you're worried about. There are also support groups for everything from general depression to survivor's guilt and PTSD for defensive shootings. Places you don't even have to give your real name if you don't want. I'm sorry that this happened to you and for what you're going through now, but you are allowed to get through it, not just be crushed by it the rest of your life. You can choose happiness without letting go of your personal defense. No need to do this alone. Be safe and be well. I think that's part of why I made this post. It's good to talk without the person looking you in the eye. Why do you think you're supposed to feel bad? Because someone died from your reactions? Animals all have a will to live, and if necessary also at the cost of other animals' lives. That's the way things go. Animals attack. Animals defend. Animals die. Animals live. We're animals. You should feel lucky, because what alternative did you have? One. But then this whole ask me anything wouldn't exist. But that's just the rational side. Emotionally, I can totally get how this can mess with you. I appreciate the support. I just feel like I should feel something. I should sympathize with him. He was clearly homeless. Who knows what he could have been going through. My dad said I should forgive him because that will bring me peace. But I don't. Duck him. Has the incident made you more wary of people approaching you? Yes. I don't go anywhere at night anymore besides drive-thrus. I don't go inside gas stations at all anymore. I'm convinced that muggers go to gas stations and just wait for people to walk in and ambush them. I'm always afraid of being ambushed at night and sometimes during the day. I'm constantly watching everywhere. A lot of people have mentioned that I'm constantly looking around like I have anxiety or something. People wearing hoods freak me out even though the guy I shot didn't have one. How many rounds hit him and where? I carry a small 380 and find I've got to be close to get a good group with it. Too close for a dude with machete, but I love carrying it. 4 out of 7 shots hit him at literally just about point blank. They were all chest area. I don't think I even looked down the sights. In the camera footage I was shooting one-handed and I've always trained with both hands. What about the man who came at you? Did he have any family that tried to pursue you or any explanation of why he came at you like that? I never heard anything. Obid said he had an ex-wife and 2 kids. How did it feel once knowing you took his life, or was it all a blur from that point on? I didn't know he died until the next day during my interview. I didn't feel any different than I had initially. What model gun? Glock 43. Was it OEM mags or was it aftermarket mags? Total OEM besides night sights. Does your family see you any differently now? Very different. They always think something is wrong with me. They look too far into everything I say and do. Did you have a lawyer present for either interview? If not, was there any conversation with the interviewing officers about having a defense attorney present? I didn't, even though they told me I could have won. I just wanted it over with. I have a question about what you remember. I once had to draw on someone who accosted me at the back of a dark parking lot late at night. The thing is, I don't remember drawing. I remember the guy walking out from behind the tree, right at me. Then I was pointing my 357 Magnum at him. But I don't remember drawing at all. As you know, a 357 is a big gun and it was in my methodiking purse. I know. I don't remember how it got in my hand. But I will never forget the look on that guy's face when he saw it. I didn't shoot. Didn't have to shoot. I just want to know if you remember drawing, because to me it's like my gun jumped into my hand of its own accord or something. Obviously I know that is not possible, but I just can't remember drawing. I remember the guy coming out from behind the tree, then his face when I pointed the gun at him. Sorry if this is rambling. It's kind of an upsetting memory. Nowhere near as bad as yours. Are there parts you can't remember? Whoa, .357 in a purse? That's kinda hot. I remember drawing BC. I remember frantically trying to pull my shirt up and fearing it would get caught. The shooting itself was a blur. I think I thought the gun malfunctioned when the slide locked back because there's no way I fired 7, but I did. I've only drawn my weapon on someone once and it messed with my head for a while. Thankfully, I didn't have to pull the trigger, so I can't relate to you on that level, but you did what you had to do. You valued your life enough to carry a firearm and it saved your life. It does seem that you have some sort of PTSD from the experience, but at least you realize how that situation could have gone completely different. You're a responsible person who values your safety and the safety of people around you. Unfortunately, that's the situation we face all too often in this country. I hope that you can find peace of mind though. Having to deal with the ramifications from that situation can't be easy at times. For what it's worth, I'm proud of you. Military? The shots that missed, did you ever track down where they went? I wasn't firing towards the building, so they likely landed in the grass hill next to it. Did you have the presence of mind to not fire towards the building, or was it just luck? Luck? Everyone is recommending therapy but you keep brushing it off. How long do you think you can last the way you are right now? You need to get help. I don't know. I go day by day. From what I've read here, you broke off with your GF and your family has been kinda overprotective with you. Other than that, how's everything going? How was your day? Do you have friends to talk about this stuff? Are you working? Quarantined? I'm fine. Don't really have friends. I work at PetSmart LOL. I still go work. Did you stay at your GF's that night? Yes. You mentioned in a comment that after the event you and your girlfriend argued about things. What things? Everything and anything. Even small things. I've read through some of the comments and your replies, and I still can't imagine what you had to go through afterwards. I just want to know if you're okay now, after the whole ordeal. I'm fine. If you could go back, would you change how you reacted? I would have never gone to the gas station. Were you worried that you would go to prison? A little. Do you have any advice for people that want to prepare for a situation like this? Is there something you wish you had known beforehand? Is there any kind of extra training you do now that you've been in that situation? Considering that a few of the shots missed, and it sounds like you panicked a bit. Completely understandable BTW and hard to avoid. Keep your head on a swivel. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.